Hey, this is a short video to talk about how to brainstorm for a writing assignment. So when you go to write something, sometimes you don't have a very clear view about what it is you're wanting to write about, and you've got several options when you go to brainstorm. So brainstorming is more than just thinking in your head for a few moments and then just writing out your paper, your essay, or paragraph. Instead, as you brainstorm, what you're doing is you're fleshing out your ideas. And so you can list, you can free write, you can cluster map, or you can question as an effective way to brainstorm. And the hope is that as you're going through this brainstorm, you may start off with a really good idea, but as you keep going, your idea grows and becomes better and stronger. And so where the first idea that pops in your mind might work, the third idea might be easier to write, and the fifth idea may be genius. And so you want to take time to really flesh out that idea in the beginning when you're still thinking about it, instead of committing to paper, trying to make something happen, and then realizing, oh, I should have done it a different way. So listing is exactly what its name is. What you do is you start coming up with the topic and you list everything that comes to mind. And you can see in this example where the person wrote the writing prompt at the top. And then I know it's a little strange to see, you can zoom in with your screen, but they start listing ideas immediately underneath it. And after a little while of getting a bunch of ideas on the page and kind of running out of some steam, they look at that list and they go, which one of those could be a really interesting idea? And it influenced the second list. And so what this person has actually done is they have listed on top of listing on top of listing, which you certainly can do. Sometimes your first list is enough to get you going and ready for writing. Other times you got to take it into the second list and you go, okay, well, if I'm going to talk about influential novels, what all could I talk about? And then again, you see a huge list of ideas. And from that, you can notice a little arrow to the side where they're picking other ones to list out, to flesh out, to figure out the details. Another really great way to brainstorm is to free write. And this was a little strange when I started, and it's probably what I default to the most. But you simply sit down and write, whether pencil and paper or typing on your keyboard, blank document, everything that comes to mind you put on the page. You're not worried about punctuation, you're not worried about sentence structure, you're not worried about organization. It's just as the ideas flow, you're putting it out on the page one right after the other. It's creating another type of list, but it's free flowing instead of being a bit more structured. And what happens is as you are free writing, you start off with some basic ideas, you catch some kind of weird tangents, and by the time you get to the bottom of your free write, you get done with your time of sitting there thinking through your idea, you have really latched on to a really specific idea and you have started coming up with details that support it. Now this is a small piece of a free write. Normally when you sit down to free write, you set that timer for 10 minutes or you set that timer for 15 minutes and you make yourself write for the entire time. And as people get more used to free writing, the beginning is going to be a little garbled, it's going to be a little strange. As you start getting to the middle, you're starting to kind of find your rhythm, find what you're wanting to talk about, get some good ideas going. And by the end, you probably have some sentences you can copy and paste over, you can steal and borrow to start working into an outline or a rough draft. The next way that you could brainstorm is by cluster mapping. And I think a lot of people did this in kindergarten through 12th grade writing. They were given kind of a page and they had the circles to fill out, or maybe they were given the hamburger and you're filling in the pieces. But it all starts with an idea in the middle. And then from it, you come up with other sub-ideas or other pieces that could be developed. And then from it, you get even more specific with your details. It's another kind of list, it's another kind of free write, but your brain is structuring it by the space as opposed to lines or structure or sentences. And then the last one is to go through your questions of who, what, where, when, why, and how. And you can see where this person kind of created a star. They gave each point one of the questions, and then you have all the room around it to kind of answer what it is you're thinking. But who is it that I'm writing to? What is it that needs to be said? When should I be looking at giving these details or sitting down to write it? But you're going through and answering these questions as a way to start organizing your ideas. Now, here's the part that very few people say. There is no right or wrong way to brainstorm. Any one of these will work, And part of what I would like for you to figure out in English 988 is, how is your brain working? Do you think more in kind of space, and so that cluster map makes sense to your head and you can organize your ideas better? Are you a more structured thinker and you want to begin at the top and work your way to the bottom with a list? Are you a little all over the place? So a free write helps you kind of grab a whole bunch of ideas and then narrow it down to something specific. But find what works best for you. I think too often students are forced to conform to what works for the teacher. And now that you're in college, you need to figure out what works best for you so you can play to your strengths. With your assignment this week, you're going to need to check out the writing prompt. I have grabbed it here, but it's in Blackboard. You can click on the link to pull up the Word document to get more details with it. But you're reading that article that you find in Blackboard, and then you're thinking about your own thoughts. And so we are going to eventually create a strong body paragraph arguing, should the consumption of caffeinated drinks be federally regulated for minors, for people under the age of 18? And so you're going to have to pick a side. You're going to have to think about why you believe in the side that you believe in, and you're going to have to support it from the article that we're reading in this unit. But this week, you're brainstorming. You're looking at the question, should the government step in and control who can drink caffeinated drinks, Monsters, Red Bulls, Rock Stars, for children, for people under the age of 18. And you are going to be turning into me your form of a brainstorm, whether it is listing, free writing, cluster mapping, or questioning. As always, reach out to me if you have any questions. I hope that you have found this video helpful, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with as you think about the topic.